The sun sinks low, casting a warm orange glow over the village. The evening air hums with the sounds of birds returning to their nests. Tariq, steady and humble, sharpens his spear. The village is peaceful, nestled at the edge of the forest, surrounded by tall trees and the steady hum of nature. His fellow hunters gather around, their faces calm, their laughter filling the air. But there is something in the wind, something faint that stirs the leaves. It whispers a warning, a distant threat. No one hears it yet, not even Tariq, for the village is his home, and he trusts the land as he trusts his own hands. The calm is only a shadow. Suddenly, the quiet breaks like a crack in the earth. The sudden strike comes without warning. Tariq stumbles, pain blooming in his chest as blows rain down on him. His hands, always steady with the bow, now shake as the faces of his closest friends twist into something unrecognizable. They beat him hard, tearing at him, shouting words that strike deeper than any weapon. "You are no longer fit to lead," one says, cold and ruthless. "The hunt is ours now." The ground beneath him spins. His spear, once his pride, is taken from his grasp. The strength in his limbs fades as each hit lands, making his vision blur. His world narrows to pain, and then to darkness. As his attackers walk away, their voices are nothing but echoes in his ears. Their footsteps grow distant. "This land belongs to us now," one mutters, and the rest laugh. Their words slice through his fading consciousness like a dagger. The truth strikes hard and sharp, like the bite of a snake. These men, once his brothers, are part of a rival clan. They have cast him aside, abandoned him to the wilds, planning to take what is his, the hunting grounds, the land, everything. They think him dead. But Tariq's eyes flicker open. The pain is unbearable. His body is broken, and the world is nothing but a dark blur. Still, there is a whisper, a voice like the wind, soft but deep. "Survive, hunter. There is power waiting for you in the earth." The voice hums with an energy Tariq cannot understand, yet it fills him with strange warmth. It is an ancient voice, a voice older than time, urging him to fight on. He doesn't know what the voice means, what power it speaks of, but his spirit stirs. Despite the weight of his injuries, despite the darkness closing in, something in him shifts. The force of the voice pushes against his broken body. He opens his eyes wider, searching through the fog of pain, hearing the faint rush of a river in the distance. "I won't die here," he whispers to the trees, to the earth, to the sky. His voice is barely a breath, but it carries with it the strength of every ancestor who ever walked this land. His limbs are heavy, the wounds deep. Yet, with a grunt, he rises, his movements slow but determined. His hands claw at the earth, gripping the soil as if it might give him the strength he needs to move forward. His vision swims, and the pain is a wall he must scale, but his heart beats strong, louder than the doubt that threatens to swallow him. He moves, one step, then another. The river calls to him, faint but clear. It is a lifeline, a thread of hope pulling him toward survival. He knows he must reach it. His legs feel like stones beneath him, but Tariq stumbles forward. Each movement feels impossible, yet he keeps going, his mind set on the sound of the river, the promise of the water that will cleanse him, restore him. His breath is ragged, his body refusing to obey, but the voice in his mind does not let him rest. "I must survive," he repeats to himself. "I will find the power. I will find the strength." His body aches with every inch, but his resolve sharpens like the spear he once carried. Somewhere ahead, there is something he cannot yet understand, but it is waiting for him. The voice spoke the truth. There is power in the earth, and it will change everything. He doesn't know how or why, but he feels the pull of something greater than himself. And so, he crawls, driven not just by the need to survive, but by the promise of what lies ahead. The journey has begun. Tariq's eyes are fixed on the horizon, the sound of the river growing louder. The pain still claws at him, but now with each movement it feels distant, as if the earth itself is supporting him. His heart pounds in his chest, steady and sure, as he steps deeper into the unknown, toward the power he can barely comprehend, but which is now calling to him. The land, the voice, the river, everything is connected. And as he moves forward, Tariq knows that his fight is only just beginning. Tariq moves through the trees with the quiet grace of the wind, his spear sharp and his senses sharper. The village knows him as a hunter, but more than that, they know him as one who listens. The elders speak of him with respect. The forest speaks to him, they say, watching as he returns with more game than anyone else, guided by the whispers of nature itself. When Tariq walks, animals step aside, for they understand him. He takes what he needs and no more, leaving the forest in peace. His skill and humility have earned him trust, and his heart is pure, not driven by power or greed. Yet, in the shadows of this peace, something stirs, a darkness born of envy. Jabari watches from the edge, his eyes sharp and calculating. He is the leader of a neighboring clan, and where others see respect and wisdom, Jabari sees only a threat. The land is mine, he mutters under his breath, eyes narrowing as Tariq leads hunts, speaks to the villagers, and becomes the man they turn to in times of need. Tariq's growing power gnaws at him like a wound that will not heal. He, too, desires the respect and authority that comes with leadership. Tariq stands in my way, he thinks, grinding his teeth in quiet frustration. The forest speaks to Tariq, but Jabari is determined to make it speak for him, no matter the cost. Zola watches it all from the distance. Once, she and Tariq were close, companions who shared dreams, laughter, and the hope of leading the village together. But now, she feels the weight of her resentment growing like a vine that threatens to strangle everything it touches. We were meant to lead together, she whispers to herself, her eyes clouded with bitterness. Tariq's rise has overshadowed her own gifts, leaving her feeling small, unnoticed. Where Tariq thrives, she feels forgotten. The bond that once held them together is cracking, the weight of it too heavy to ignore. But she cannot speak of it, she must find another way. The village is his, but she will find her place, even if it means betraying the one who once called her sister. Bolu, the village's elder healer, watches the conflict unfold with a knowing gaze. Her hands, weathered by time, have healed many, but it is not wounds of the body she fears now. It is the tremor of something deeper, a power that stirs in the earth itself. The earth speaks in whispers, she murmurs, her eyes fixed on Tariq, who is unaware of the ancient knowledge that flows beneath him. Tariq's connection with the land is unlike any the village has known. Bolu sees it, feels it, a power that could save or destroy them all. Tariq will hear them, she says softly, but to whom, no one knows. She holds the knowledge close, knowing that soon, it may be the only thing that can guide them. The village itself is restless. Tensions simmer beneath the surface, unnoticed by many but sensed by the elders. Rival clans grow bolder, their eyes turning toward the village, hungry for its resources. Rumors swirl of an ancient power hidden deep within the mountains. Only the pure of heart can find it, the elders say in hushed tones, warning the younger ones to be wary. But the village is divided. Some hope that this power will bring them peace and prosperity, others fear it will be their undoing. Tariq, with his strength and wisdom, is a beacon of hope for some, but to others, he is a symbol of what they cannot control. As the balance shifts, the whispers of betrayal begin. In the dark corners of the village, Jabari meets with Zola. His voice is low, just a thread of sound carried by the wind. Tariq is too powerful, he says, his eyes burning with the desire to take what he believes is rightfully his. We need to stop him before he takes everything from us. Zola nods, her lips thin. She does not speak of the bitterness she feels, but it radiates from her. You're right, she replies quietly. He's made the village forget who we are. He's taken our place. Together, they weave a plan, one that will rid them of Tariq and his influence. They believe that his power will lead them all to ruin, but in their desire for control, they forget that power does not always come from the one who claims it, it comes from the land itself. Tariq, unaware of the dark alliance forming around him, feels something shift in the air. Zola, once his closest ally, now keeps her distance. Her eyes are cold when they meet his, and her words have lost the warmth they once carried. What's happened to you? He asks one evening, a tinge of worry in his voice. But Zola only looks away, her heart heavy with secrets. She doesn't answer. She can't. The trust between them is already slipping, like sand through his fingers. The betrayal is already in motion. The elders, ever watchful, feel the storm approaching. Their voices rise in a warning. The earth's power is not to be wielded carelessly. They speak of the balance between man and nature, of the dangers of greed and pride. Tariq overhears their words, but he cannot yet understand the weight of what they say. He knows only that something is shifting within him, within the land itself. The ancient power they speak of is calling to him, but what it will bring is still a mystery. The villagers fear it, yet they are drawn to it as if it is their destiny. In the quiet of the night, Zola and Jabari meet once again. Their voices are sharp, their eyes hard. He doesn't know what's coming, Zola says, her words filled with cold certainty. Her gaze turns toward the horizon, where the shadows stretch long. Jabari smiles, his eyes gleaming with the hunger of a man who believes the world is his for the taking. Soon, he says, his voice low, we'll take what's ours. Tariq moves closer to the trap without knowing it, his path unknowingly set in motion by those he trusted most. The whispers of betrayal echo in his mind, but they are faint, lost in the noise of his own concerns. The ambush has been planned. The final push is near. They won't see it coming, Jabari thinks, his mind set on the moment when everything will change. The hunter will become the hunted. And from that moment, a new path will be forged, one that will shape the future of the village. The winds of fate are shifting. And soon, the earth will speak louder than ever before. Weak, battered and crawling, Tariq drags his broken body through the thick, unforgiving forest. His legs ache with every movement, each step heavier than the last. The forest around him seems to close in, the dense foliage pressing in from all sides. His skin is raw from the brush, and his breath comes in shallow gasps, but there is one thought that keeps him moving forward: I will not die here. His mind, blurry from pain, focuses only on survival. Each crawl is a battle against his own body, but his will is stronger. Days pass, but he keeps going, ignoring the screams of his battered muscles, knowing that something waits ahead, something that will give him the strength he needs to fight back. And then, as if by magic, the forest parts, and before him stands a cave. The entrance glows faintly, like a silent invitation. Something stirs deep within him, urging him to enter. This place. It feels different, Tariq thinks, instinctively drawn to the cave's pull. He doesn't understand why, but he knows he has found something important. Something that may hold the key to his survival, and his revenge. He stumbles forward, too weak to stand, but the cave's light fills him with purpose. His hands reach for the rocks at the entrance, pulling himself inside. The air inside the cave is cool and still, as though time itself has slowed. Tariq's eyes widen as he takes in the sight before him, a pool of water, glowing with an otherworldly light, shimmering like liquid fire. The sight is both beautiful and terrifying. His heart races as he approaches it, unable to look away. At the far side of the pool, an ancient stone tablet rests against the rock. Its surface is covered with strange markings, symbols he feels he should understand but doesn't. They are familiar, like echoes of stories he's heard from the elders, but now they seem to hold a deeper meaning, a truth he has yet to grasp. This is the earth's power, he whispers to himself, recognition dawning in his mind. This is what the elders spoke of, the power hidden within the land, waiting for someone pure enough to claim it. As Tariq reaches out and dips his hand into the water, a strange sensation fills him. A voice, soft and steady, rises from within the depths. You have awakened what lies hidden beneath, the voice says, filled with ancient power. The earth has chosen you. Use its power wisely. The words send a shiver through Tariq's spine, but there is no time for fear. He drinks from the pool, feeling the cool liquid slide down his throat, and with it, a surge of energy unlike anything he's ever known. The power of the earth courses through him, filling his veins with fire and light, until he feels like he is one with the land itself. The change is instant. Tariq's body, once battered and broken, begins to heal. The wounds on his chest close, and his broken limbs regain their strength. His senses sharpen to an impossible degree. He can feel the slightest movement of the wind, the faintest rustling of leaves far away. The power of the earth, wind, water, and fire flows through him like a wild river, unstoppable and all-consuming. I can feel everything. The earth itself, he says in awe, his voice trembling. The power is overwhelming, and though part of him is amazed, another part feels fear. This power could be the key to his revenge, but it could also be his undoing. I must learn to control it, he murmurs to himself, knowing that this newfound strength comes with a responsibility he's not yet sure he can bear. For the next few days, Tariq trains, pushing himself to understand the full extent of his abilities. The wind answers his call, carrying him faster than he's ever run. Fire springs to life at his fingertips, lighting his path in the dark. Water swirls around him, healing the last remnants of his pain. But with each use, he feels the power grow more uncontrollable. At times, the elements overwhelm him. The wind howls too loud, the fire burns too hot, the water floods too much. This is more than I bargained for, he admits to himself, frustration rising. It's like trying to tame a storm, and the storm does not want to be tamed. The power within him is wild, untamed, and unpredictable. But there is no turning back. The earth has chosen him, and he will learn to control it, no matter the cost. With the power comes a darkness. Tariq's anger, long buried beneath the weight of betrayal, begins to surface. His body aches with memories of what happened, of the friends who left him to die, of the pain they caused. They left me for dead, he mutters through clenched teeth, his fists trembling with rage. Now I'll make them pay. But as the anger builds, the voice returns, softer this time. Anger will consume you if you let it, it warns, the sound of it like the rustling of leaves in the wind. Control your emotions, or the power will control you. Tariq knows the truth in the voice's words. His anger could fuel his power, but if he's not careful, it could destroy him. He must find a way to balance the fire burning within him with the calm of the earth. If he doesn't, he risks losing everything. With a deep breath, Tariq pushes the anger aside, focusing instead on the duty he now carries. I can't just destroy them, he decides, the weight of his power heavy on his shoulders. I must protect my people. The land chose me for a reason. I will return, not as a hunter, but as their protector. And so, he begins his journey back to the village. He knows Jabari and Zola think him dead, that they will never expect him to return, let alone with such power. But the time has come for him to face them, and to face the consequences of the choices he will have to make. The village, meanwhile, believes Tariq is gone. His supposed death is met with a mixture of sorrow and relief. The elders mourn the loss of the hunter, but Jabari, his rival, speaks with a cruel smile. The hunter is gone. The village can now move on, he says, his words carrying the weight of ambition. But deep within, Jabari feels something shift. With Tariq gone, the path to power is clear. The people will follow him now. The drums of war begin to beat as Jabari rallies his forces, ready to lead the village into conflict with a neighboring tribe. The time for peace is over, he declares. He believes the absence of Tariq will weaken the village's resolve, but he is wrong. For Tariq, though thought dead, is far from finished. As Tariq makes his way back, something stirs beneath his feet. The earth rumbles softly, like a warning. A gust of wind knocks him to his knees, and he feels a chill run through him. The land warns me, he thinks, recognizing the shift in the world around him. His power is growing, but so is the conflict. The people he once called allies are no longer on his side. Jabari's lust for power and Zola's betrayal have set the village on a dangerous path. The earth is restless, and so is he. The time for reckoning is near. The journey ahead will not be easy. Tariq knows that he must face the past, and what lies ahead is a future shaped by the choices he makes now. The power he holds could be his salvation, or his destruction. The land has chosen him, but only he can decide how it will shape his fate. I'll face them, he vows, his heart burning with resolve. No matter what. And so, his path to the village continues, a journey fraught with danger, anger, and the weight of the earth itself. But Tariq knows one thing for certain, he will return, and when he does, nothing will ever be the same. Tariq strides into the village, his muscles rippling with strength, and his eyes glowing like the embers of a fire. The people gasp in shock, their voices rising in a mix of awe and fear. Whispers fill the air. Is that really him? One villager mutters. Others stare wide-eyed at the man who was once thought dead, now standing before them, changed, transformed. Tariq feels their stares, their fear, but he stands tall, his shoulders squared, his heart steady. He has returned, and there is no turning back. From the crowd, a figure steps forward. It is Zola. Her face is hard, her eyes filled with anger. You abandoned us, Tariq, she shouts, her voice cutting through the murmurs. You've let this power change you. You're no longer the man I knew. Her words hit Tariq like a slap, but he doesn't flinch. His heart aches at the truth of them, but he stands firm. I've changed because I had to, he says, his voice steady but filled with the weight of his struggle. The earth chose me, Zola. It's not something I can undo. The villagers are torn, their whispers rising in volume. Some see Tariq as a hero, returned to save them, others as a danger, a force too powerful to control. He's too strong now, one elder warns. The earth's power could consume him. Fear lingers in the air like smoke. Tariq knows the village is on the brink of war. He can feel the tension crackling. The time to act is now. Without hesitation, Tariq steps forward, his eyes locking with Jabari's. The challenge is clear. I challenge you, Jabari, he declares, his voice booming with authority. The clan will follow the winner. Jabari sneers, confidence dripping from his every move, but there is something else, fear. He knows what Tariq has become, and it unsettles him. You're not the same man anymore, Jabari taunts, drawing his weapon, the blade gleaming in the sunlight. Tariq doesn't blink. And you're not the same man either, Jabari. You've let your greed blind you. The earth will see who you truly are. The battle begins with a clash that echoes through the village. Jabari, with his brute strength, charges at Tariq, swinging his weapon mercilessly. Each blow is heavy, each strike meant to crush. But Tariq is faster now. His movements are fluid, precise, his body no longer just flesh but something more, something alive with the power of the earth. He dodges, sidestepping Jabari's attacks with ease, and counters with a sharp strike that leaves Jabari reeling. You cannot win this, Jabari grunts, his attacks becoming more desperate. But Tariq's power only grows, each movement in harmony with the world around him. With a cry that shakes the earth, Tariq calls the elements to his side. The wind howls, wild and furious, whipping around them like a storm unleashed. The ground trembles beneath their feet, and fire bursts from Tariq's hands, swirling in the air like living flames. You will face the full power of the earth, he roars, pushing Jabari back with a surge of energy so strong the ground cracks beneath him. The sky darkens, as though the very heavens are watching. Jabari stumbles, his confidence faltering in the face of such power. No, he yells, his voice shaking, but Tariq's power is unstoppable. But Jabari is not without his tricks. In a swift motion, he grabs a handful of dirt and throws it into Tariq's eyes, blinding him for a moment. You're weak, Tariq, he mocks, using the distraction to launch a surprise attack. Tariq staggers, the dirt stinging his eyes, but the power within him sharpens his senses. He wipes his eyes and stands tall once more. I am not weak, Jabari, he says, his voice steady, though his body hums with barely contained energy. You are. The final blow looms. Tariq calls upon the earth once more, his will strong and unwavering. The ground beneath Jabari's feet shifts, rising like a serpent, binding him in place. The earth will judge you, Tariq declares, his voice a thunderclap. Jabari struggles, pulling and twisting, but the earth holds him fast. No, no, he screams, panic rising in his chest as he is trapped, unable to move. The villagers watch in stunned silence, their eyes wide with fear and awe. Tariq has won, but at what cost? Just as Tariq raises his weapon, ready to strike the final blow, the voice returns. If you use too much power, you will lose yourself, it warns, echoing in his mind. You will become the very thing you sought to destroy. Tariq freezes, the weapon suspended in the air, his heart pounding in his chest. The power within him pulses, urging him to act, to finish what he started. But the warning lingers. He closes his eyes, torn between vengeance and the fear of losing his humanity. What should I do, he wonders, his grip tightening on the weapon, his mind racing. The earth beneath him shifts, as though waiting for his decision. In that moment of hesitation, Tariq makes his choice. He lowers his weapon, the weight of the power in his hands heavy, but under control. The villagers hold their breath as Tariq looks down at Jabari, his voice calm, yet firm. Jabari's treachery is exposed. Let the earth show the truth. With a deep breath, Tariq steps back, releasing the earth's grip on Jabari. The ground sinks back into place, and Jabari falls to his knees, breathing heavily. The land has spoken, Tariq declares. Let justice be done. Jabari, now humbled and defeated, is taken by the villagers, his fight for power ended. Tariq's decision to show mercy, despite the overwhelming strength at his disposal, leaves them speechless. He is not just a man of strength, one elder whispers in awe, but of wisdom. The battle is over. The village, once on the brink of war, stands in silence. Tariq, though a man of great power, has chosen the path of mercy, the path of wisdom, showing them all that true strength lies not in destruction, but in the restraint to protect, to heal, and to guide. And so, the earth has spoken, and justice has been done. Aftermath/resolution script. Jabari kneels before the elders, his hands bound tightly. His eyes burn with rage, a fire that cannot be quenched. The elders speak, their voices steady but firm. "You betrayed us, Jabari," one says, his words like a stone thrown into the river, causing ripples that will never fade. "You sought power at the cost of everything, the village, the people, your honor." Jabari growls under his breath, his teeth clenched in fury. "This is not the end," he spits, his voice thick with bitterness. "I will return. You have not seen the last of me." His words hang in the air, dark and full of promise, like a storm brewing on the horizon. With one last defiant glare, Jabari stands and storms off into the wilderness, his figure swallowed by the vastness of the land. His vow of revenge echoes, rippling through the village like the wind, unsettling all who hear it. Zola watches him go, her heart heavy with confusion. She turns to Tariq, but there is no joy in her eyes. "You've saved the village," she says, her voice quiet, filled with doubt. "But at what cost?" Her words strike Tariq like the crack of thunder, sharp and unrelenting. He stands still, understanding the weight of her feelings, the fear that clouds her heart. "I did what had to be done," he responds, his voice calm, but there is a storm within him too. Zola steps back, her mind torn. "Power like yours. It's dangerous," she warns, her eyes filled with worry. "It can consume you." Tariq knows she speaks the truth. He feels it pulsing within him, the power always present, always demanding more. But he cannot deny it. Not now. Not after everything. Alone, Tariq walks to the sacred cave where it all began, the moment the earth's power awoke within him. His fingers graze the glowing water, and memories flood his mind. "I could have destroyed everything," he whispers, his voice soft but filled with regret. The power he holds is not just a gift, but a burden. "But I chose not to," he reminds himself. In that quiet moment, Tariq feels the weight of what he has become. Power is not just about strength. It is about control, about knowing when to use it. True strength isn't just power, he thinks. It's knowing when to wield it, and when to let it go. Later, Tariq finds Bolu sitting by the fire, the flames casting shadows that dance like spirits. "I need to understand this power," Tariq says, his voice full of uncertainty, his mind restless. "How do I control it?" Bolu looks at him, his eyes full of ancient wisdom. "The land has chosen you," he says slowly. "But the power is not for control. It is for protection." Tariq listens carefully. "Protection?" he repeats, the word heavy in his mouth. "What does that mean?" Bolu's gaze is steady, his voice calm yet firm. "You are not a king, Tariq. You are a guardian of the earth and the people. Led with your heart, not your strength. Strength alone cannot protect." Tariq's heart stirs as he absorbs Bolu's words. He is not meant to rule. He is meant to guard, to protect, to serve. Tariq stands tall, his heart filled with a new sense of purpose. He walks into the village with a quiet resolve. He has made his decision. The power he holds will not be used recklessly. "I will not be a ruler," he says, his voice steady, his eyes filled with the quiet strength of the earth itself. "But I will protect you, with all that I am." The villagers gather around him, some with fear still in their eyes, others with respect, but all listening closely. Tariq speaks, not as a king, but as a guardian. Someone who will fight not to control, but to defend. "I promise you," he says, "I will stand watch over this land, over all of you." Zola watches him, and something stirs within her. She sees the change in Tariq, the growth, the humility. She's seen power corrupt before, but now, she sees something different. Maybe, just maybe, he can be the protector the village needs. Maybe you were right, she whispers to herself, though she doesn't quite understand it all. Maybe you can be the protector we need. Tariq looks at her, his eyes soft but full of understanding. I know I'm not the same man I once was, he says quietly. But I'll never forget the people I fight for. Zola nods slowly. There's a glimmer of trust in her eyes now, a flicker of hope. Together, we will rebuild the village. Together, we will stand strong. The villagers begin to rebuild, working together as they hadn't before. Tariq stands with them, teaching them not just how to repair homes, but how to live in harmony with the land, how to respect its power and wisdom. The earth that had once trembled under the weight of destruction now begins to heal. The village is stronger, united in purpose. Tariq's role as protector, not ruler, earns him the respect of those around him. The land, once threatened by power's greed, flourishes again. The villagers trust him not because of his strength, but because of his heart. As the sun sets, Tariq stands at the edge of the village, his gaze lost in the golden light. The power of the earth is not mine to control, he thinks, the words echoing in his heart. It belongs to the land and the people, to all who respect it. He turns, knowing his journey is far from over. The battle for the village has been won, but the true journey, of guarding and protecting, has only just begun. With the wisdom he has gained, Tariq walks back into the village, his heart peaceful. The village, once divided, is now united. And with courage and humility, Tariq promises to protect it, not with power alone, but with the strength of his heart. Tariq sits alone by the river, his eyes watching the water flow calmly, yet his thoughts are restless. I used my power to protect, he murmurs to himself. The words feel heavy, like stones in his chest. But at what cost? The pain, the destruction, the weight of everything he has done. His powers had torn through the land and the hearts of his people. Now, with the village healing, he wonders if it was worth it. True strength isn't in power alone, he realizes. It's in knowing when not to use it. The river, steady and unhurried, seems to whisper back at him. Power flows like water, forceful when needed, but gentle when it must be. Tariq looks up to the village in the distance, now beginning to rebuild, and something shifts inside him. The land belongs to everyone, not just one man, he says softly. His voice carries the weight of understanding, as the full realization settles in his heart. True leadership is not about domination. It is about protecting what belongs to all, with respect, not fear. As the sun rises, the village stirs with activity. People gather to rebuild homes and till the soil, their hands working together. Tariq joins them, but this time, he leads not with force, but with guidance. He stands with the young villagers, showing them how to plant seeds in the earth, just as they are planting hope for a new future. Let's work together, he encourages them, his voice steady and calm. The strength of the land is in unity. When we work together, we grow stronger. The villagers, once uncertain, now look to him not with fear, but with trust. They see the change in him. Tariq no longer carries the burden of being a ruler. He is a protector, one who guards the land and guides his people with wisdom, not power. As they plant, the seeds they sow are not just for crops, they are for a future built on shared effort, mutual respect, and understanding. Together, we are stronger, Tariq tells them, as he helps a young one plant the first seed. Later, by the fire, Tariq gathers the children around him, his voice calm as the flames crackle. True leaders don't seek power, he explains. His eyes meet theirs, filled with both wisdom and kindness. They serve the people and protect the land. Strength comes from wisdom, not from force. The children sit quietly, their eyes wide, listening intently. Tariq's words are like the roots of a great tree, sinking deep into the hearts of those who hear them. He talks of balance, how the earth must be treated with respect, how the cycles of nature must be honored. A powerful leader knows when to fight, he continues, but an even wiser leader knows when to step back. The fire burns bright, but Tariq's words are what truly light the way for the next generation. The village grows stronger with each passing day. The people come together, not just to rebuild, but to celebrate the earth, to share stories, and to honor the land that gives them life. Festivals are held, songs are sung, and the sound of laughter fills the air. Tariq watches them, a deep sense of pride filling his chest. He feels a peace that he has never known before. This is what true strength looks like, he thinks. It's not in the power to destroy, but in the ability to come together and build something that lasts. Zola, standing beside him, looks out over the village, her eyes soft with understanding. "We've rebuilt more than just homes," she says quietly. "We've rebuilt our trust." Tariq smiles, a quiet, humble smile. "Together, we are one." Tariq walks through the village, reflecting on all he has learned. His feet move slowly, as if he's walking through a dream, one that is finally coming true. Power can protect, he thinks. But it can also corrupt. He sees the truth of it now. The strength he once relied on so heavily was never the answer. The answer was in knowing when to use that strength, and when to let it rest. A true leader leads with the heart, not the fist, Tariq concludes to himself, feeling a weight lifted from his shoulders. He has learned that real strength comes not from commanding, but from serving, with wisdom, humility, and respect. And now, he understands that the greatest power lies in the bond between the people and the land, a bond that cannot be broken by force. As he looks around, he sees the village, united, strong, and free. And he knows that this is what it means to lead. Not with power, but with the strength to protect, to care, and to always choose the path of peace.